You on all access with KK the drummer on Unity4life19 Records TV. Yeah, I started playing drums at the age of 10, watching my cousin Harold Bay Taylor play snare drum. He was one of the best snare drum players I have ever heard in my whole entire life. The rudiments that he was playing was super dope. I mean, I promise you, man, the brother was, he was phenomenal. I never heard no one ever play like that before. And I've been watching him for a long time, and everything been working out in my favor because I've been mimicking him on snare drum, even on the marching band. So I've been mimicking him, and I get a chance to learn a lot from him. You know, it was really great to learn from. Growing up in River Park Towers, on the west side of the Bronx, the home of hip hop with DJ Kool Herc. You hear the legendary Kool Herc name, DJ Kojak and Ice. But at the point in time, my brother Kojak was hanging with a guy named DJ Ice. They was, DJing together in Cedar Park. And me and his brother, DJ Spice Nice, we was hanging out together. And and one day I was listening to the school band. It was a school band called the Heartbreakers. And I asked Spice, to, see if I can get on the drums and play. And Spice turned around and looked at me and said, can you play? I said, yeah. He said, can you play? I said, yeah. So he turned around one more time. He asked me, can you play? I actually said, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But then the truth, I never played a drum set before. I played snare drum because watching my cousin play snare drum, so I've been watching him for a long time. So playing snare drum was easy, but to get on there and start playing the actual full trap set, it was kind of hard for me to, adjust on playing on the trap set. But I used to go home and air drum, and every time I looked at Mark, and he used to play, God bless his soul, Mark Buford, I used to watch him play drums, and I used to see everything he was doing, so I just wound up going home and doing it, and it was so easy for me to do it in the air drum. And what people don't know, air drum is when you got a pair of drumsticks or you don't, and you just sitting there acting like you playing, and you feel that groove. So when Spice asked him, "Can I get on the drums?" Asked the leader of the band. The group was called the Heartbreakers, and it was the school band. You know how they have talent shows, people put a band together. That's how June had his band. And Mark Buford was the drummer. So he asked him in the middle of a show, the middle of the show, can I get on the drums? And I don't know what made him say yes, but he did. And it was glory to me because when he let me go on the drums, it became a battle. And it really was a battle after between me and Mark. But after my brother found out how good I was, because after the battle, I was in the fifth grade. From the fourth grade, I was in the fifth grade. So I went from CES 229 to CIS 229, and I got into the fifth grade, and that's when the battle happened. But the music teacher, Mr. Beasley, he was the drum teacher. He was like, I want to teach you the basics of heel toe. He said, because I never heard no one like that before, that really never played drums, really sound like you're a professional. So anyway, he showed me the heel toe, and after that, he left. Then my brother found out that I was, how I was on the drums, and people was talking about it. So my brother came in the room one time, and we was on the 32nd floor in Building 10 at Real Park Towers, and he was like, he said, he passed me a joint. Yeah, he passed me a joint. He's like, you want to smoke this? So I smoked it, but then when I started playing, because I had borrowed the school snare drum. The snare drum that my cousin gave me, it didn't have a bottom head, so it was just more like a top head. So it had like a high pitch, like a timbali, tom-tom sounding. So I used that for a kick drum, put it against the dresser, and Mr. Cologne allowed me to, use the Speed King foot pedal, and I used the hi-hat and the snare drum, and got on a chair and I started beating. And when he passed me the joint, he was like, smoke this. I was coughing up, and then I started beating, and he was like, do that beat again. So then he said, let me play this song. So he had to, back in the days we had the beatbox. So he put the radio, the, the radio with the tape cassette and all that. I said beatbox. Well, it's called the beatbox. Um, but he played this song to it, and he had me to play on it. But I was stoned out of my brain. I was, I didn't know what to do. Son. So I was like, yo, I didn't know what to do. So I looked at my homeboy Preem, and he was like, yeah. So my brother's like, come on, let's go somewhere. Let's walk with me. I walked with him. We got on the train. Went on the train downtown. He started talking to these guys, and I was outside. And next thing you know, he told me to come in, and I got on the drums, and they played this song, and I started beating on the song, and I recorded it. Didn't know. I was young. I ain't know nothing about it. And then next thing you know, um, the guy was like, "Bring him back tomorrow." I came back the next day, and he put another track on, talking about beat on this, beat on that, and I played on that track. And I was sitting there saying, "Okay, cool," but my brother came out with money, which was the first time it was $500. You talking about the early, late '80s, um, getting $500. That's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of money. So next thing you know, I turn around. I got a sandwich. He got the money, and I never knew what happened to it after that. Until years later on, and find out that my drum playing was into songs and hip hop. Not gonna say I'm leave it like it is, but then years later on, uh, I met in Cedar Park. They had Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, all the hip hop pioneers, Grandmaster Flash, all of them, Busy B, all of them was in Cedar Park. And I met Dr. Jekyll, and then my brother's like, bring him to the studio, and went down to another studio, and I played something off of the studio that sounded like the surf drum that I played the first time. But he was like, don't do what you did there, do something totally different. Like, you know what it means to stay in the pocket? And I was like, no, I don't know what it means to stay in the pocket. And he said, less, play less. So I did the drumming, I played less, and he was like, that's what I'm talking about. And again, history is what it was. But I've been rocking drums for a long time, almost 30 years. And when I um, thought about being on my own, because I went into my little world of becoming a rapper, so I wanted to rap. Um, and I was rapping with Speedy and Preem and Steve. We had a little rap group, and Speedy came from Queens, and Fred brought him in from Building 20. That was his uncle. He brought him in, and we became a group. Speedy let me hold his beat bar, his beat machine. It was the 808 beat machine. So I started creating beats, and I had the turntables, and I was a DJing with no headphones, and I was weird because I was the only DJ I know was DJing with no headphones, and I was catching it. And my favorite part was T La Rock. It's yours. Yo. He said TLAROCK, and I used to catch that K, K, K. So I started DJing. Then I started becoming a rapper, and I started rapping with Double J, Buck Weezy, um, Rick, The Wendell. They was all up there, and I was rapping, and I had the group called the Kings of Kings. So Buck Weezy was my beatbox, also was the second DJ, and Double J was my first DJ. And we did a song called KK Nice and Easy. I wrote the rap to it. And then when I was in school, I formed a band of my own called the Infinities. And I met Rashard Patterson, because his sister brought him to the school, and when he sung, he was singing Patti LaBelle's song "Only You Knew," and he was, I mean, he hit them notes with Rashard Patterson. He hit them notes, and it was it was crazy. And that's when the phase we was into the Michael Jackson phase, and we was doing Thriller. I was teaching people how to do Michael Jackson Thriller dance, and my talent did came because my aunt Star, God bless her soul, she was one of the ones that you know focused with me on acting than my music. She wanted me to be an actor because when I used to go to my grandmother's house in 3080 Park Avenue in the Bronx, South Bronx, Jackson Avenue. Me, my sister, and my cousin Kim, we used to act like we was playing good times, and we used to always perform for my grandmother. You know, when she used to, she was an Eastern Star, so she was, one time she had on her uniform and she sat in a chair, and we was performing for her as kids, and my aunt decided to wanted me to do an African dance. So anyway, I got hit with the belt on stage. I was like, ow, but I just kept rolling. You know what I'm saying? We was doing what was the roots, the part with the slaves was getting beat. And I got hit and I was rolling, but I just kept going on. But I ain't, it was cool. You know what I'm saying? We did our thing. But my older brother always felt that it was good for me to stay on drums. But then I decided to, like I said, I wanted to be a rapper, and I started rapping. The group broke up after we broke up after Infinities broke up, because after we did second place, we came in second place on a talent show. Um, Rashard Patterson wound up going into Kids Incorporated. Kim Fields came to the towers and got him. Which we used to celebrity people that's on TV coming to the towers. We had Dwayne Nelson used to come to the towers. We had Lamont Sanford used to come in the towers. We had Craig Nice and all of them. We had a lot of people was coming. Even the guy that was on Boomerang when Eddie Murphy said, "Hey, I buy these for $20," and he sold his role. Said, "Take it, fool." He was also in both Ghostbusters and Trading Places. But that guy actually lived in Building 10, which the building I lived in, and I didn't know he was actually a real detective until one day I got arrested. So yeah, that became that. But we kind of like I wanted to do my own little rap thing. Started rapping. Then I went to Brooklyn, got my cousin John Green, and he's had his own label called the Big Groove Records, and his brother's the comedian Miles Green. So Miles was my DJ, and then I was dating a female named Tracy, and her brother Ty was my dancer. He had a friend named Speedo, which they lived in two houses, two apartments down from Scrap Lover in Brooklyn. So I used to get them to dance, and we wound up performing. And they was my backup dancers, and I was a rapper, and we did a song called "It's All Over," and we did the revamp of KK Nice and Easy. Um, it was really good, but I was feeling like I was trying to find my way of singing. When do I get this talent from? And then I realized later on, after a while, that my father was a drummer, a singer. He was Geronimo. He was with the Geronimos and Apaches. He was Geronimo. The song was "It's Too Late" that you hear on Stranger Things on Netflix, and he was "Nothing Can Stop Me Now" under Lenny Curtis, and he also was under Jim and Robert Harris. Those are two brothers, my uncle Robert and my father was singing. So if that "Nothing Can Stop You Now," my uncle Robert is also, I believe, is or is it? I believe it's "Who You Gonna Run To." I'm sorry, "Who You Gonna Run To." That's the song that he sung. Uncle Robert sung with my father. It was really good because my father was also the drummer for my uncle Wilbert Harrison that did the song Kansas City. And just to learn more, and I started looking and knowing that my father's side was very known in the music industry because they was putting music out there, and I didn't know how big they was in the music. I knew my mother's side had some, but I didn't know how big, it was with my father's side. So, fast forward, um, I started doing my album called. I moved to Houston after my mother passed April 3rd, 2006. I moved to Houston. I met a guy named Slaughter that was a keyboard player, and he introduced me to a band in Houston called Brown and Swerve. And in that group called Brown and Swerve, I was really intrigued by that group, Brown and Swerve, because I was like, I was like, they was playing 70 funk, and I was like being a drummer, and the drummer that they had, the same day, my first day of the show, they fired the drummer to sing because he came in and he set up his drums. I didn't even set up my drums yet. And he set up his drums, and they came out and they told the drummer that, you're fired and we're bringing him. And I started playing for them, and then it became so funky because now they felt like the game went up higher. But I created my own band called the Soul Foundation, and which was consist on Slaughter and Dave, and then I have found other members, to play with me, and we was doing our thing in Houston, Texas, and I was introduced to from a group named Sydney James and the Janettes. She introduced me to a female named Rock and added her to our band. She was the keyboard player doing voice boxes, and found out she's a dope producer. So I started doing music with her, and I did my first EP, which was called KK Nice and Easy. Um, and the song was consist on KK Nice and Easy, RPT Funk, Breakfast in Bed, Illusion Trap, Shuffle Boule, um, Epic, um, and Island Fantasy featuring the Grammy nominated produced artist Rajane out of Chi-Town, Chicago, and she just won an award. But I did the song on there, and then I wound up saying I have music in my head that I want to compose, and I want to do it my way, and I want to do it. So I got with Adam, and I released all the good music that I wanted, that was feeling in my side, in my soul, with the song called "Going Back to the Past," which is on all all media channels. Y'all need to get that music, that album, Going Back to the Past. Trust and believe you'll love it. The young people love it. Older people love it. Everybody love it. You know what I'm saying? I just need y'all to continue to love it and sharing it. Going Back to the Past. I signed with Unity for Life 19 Records. It was created by Priscilla Brown. Um, I kind of pushed her to do the album. I mean, to do the label and stuff. So she had confidence in me before she turned it over to me. The label Unity for Life 19 Records is my label now. TV access. I'm doing my radio show KKTD 98.1 FM. That's on Mixclouds. So I'm kind of staying myself busy. I'm, like I said, for booking, you can hit me up. You want some smooth jazz, or somebody need a drummer, you can hit me up at kkthedrummer@gmail.com. I'm doing me, y'all, and I want to say thank you to Unity for Life 19 Records TV from having me here on the show. I want to give a shout out to you, and you all. Be blessed. One love. This is KK the Drummer on Unity for Life 19 Records TV, all access.